So just in case my band doesn't sell 1 million records and tour the world, what else can I do in this field?
Welcome everybody to Music Student 101. I'm Jeremy Burns.
And I am Matthew Phillips.
Today we're going to talk about career possibilities in the music field, because I think everyone dreams of being a big rock star or musician.
Play in front of millions of screaming fans.
And if not, making a comfortable living in a concert hall,
Right,
as a classically trained musician.
I don't even know if the first one really happens anymore in this day and age. Is that even a thing anymore? That where you're playing in a big, multi-million-dollar, band with platinum albums and filling up.
If so, it happens with a lot of people that don't have music degrees or didn't go to school for music.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
It seems inconsequential compared to how good you look and how many things you can sell.
That's definitely the more important feature of
not to be negative, but we're both musicians, as you guys have probably heard. I've played in bands since I'm 37, just to give you an idea. I've played in bands probably for the past 15 years.
Dude, you're old.
I'm old.
I'm 37 too, actually.
37-year-old bass players.
Yep.
Who are actually making a career based on our degrees to an extent. Actually.
We are, have been, and continue to be, which is amazing. Is it the kind of career you thought you would have back in the dark ages when we were in college? Is what you're doing now what you thought you would be doing? Because I tell you, mine really isn't.
No, I didn't think I'd be doing what I'm doing now. Certainly not. My main source of income is from the work I do as a location sound mixer or sound recordist. And what that is basically for film and television production, I'm the guy with the boom pole and the mixer. I do audio for television, film, commercial, and it can be a comfortable living if you stay busy enough. It's at a freelance capacity.
Yeah,
so
feast or famine kind of.
Exactly. So you are kind of you're kind of at the mercy of the market and also the economy. 2008 was my best year ever. 2009 was my worst, and all through 2009 I was paying my taxes for 2008, so that was really tough. So that's kind of an idea of what I do. My degree was music technology. So that would have put me in a recording studio,
right?
But I kind of enjoy this better because you get out, and if it's something worth putting on television, it's something interesting to see in the first place.
Yeah, theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah. No, there's been some horrible jobs I've worked on.
It's kind of funny. I don't think I saw myself doing what I do. What I primarily do these days is in the academic field. Mm-hmm. I'm an adjunct professor. Mm-hmm. I was working as an adjunct professor in 2006, 2007, and 2008, and then again in 2010. Mm-hmm. These have been interspersed by attempts to get more degrees. And so when I wasn't teaching adjunct, I was pursuing a doctoral degree in music composition. So I have my first degree was in music technology, same as Jeremy. Mm-hmm. I have a master's in music composition, and I'm a doctoral candidate in music composition. So hopefully we'll soon have a doctoral degree. So I've been very much in the academic world. I've also done some live sound running. I've worked in studios. I've done some studio work. When I was getting my music technology degree, I really didn't think I wanted to teach. I didn't want to be a professor. Mm-hmm. I figured I would work in studios, maybe have bands, not that got famous. I think, I was like you in that I was pretty much a realist by the time I got to college about that. I thought I would play in some bands that could, maybe gig around and make a little bit of money and then work in studios and things like that. And that just, for whatever happened, for whatever reason, that didn't happen. I guess, I got into college and started studying theory and started writing music and thought, well, this is where my real passion is right here, and I just got swept away and forgot to
composition.
Right, yeah, and just sort of somehow forgot to ever apply to a job at a studio or audition for a band ever again, So I guess it goes to show you don't really know what's going to happen. But if you want to make your music tech degree or your music degree in general be worth something, it's worth exploring some of the multiple paths and almost sort of lack of paths that are out there, which is sort of today's subject.
There's career opportunities I didn't even think about when I was going into the School of Music, Those stagehands, they're a pretty rough and rowdy crew,
Those
but they bring in
stagehands,
some pretty serious bank.
If you are reasonably competent around audio equipment, video equipment, lighting equipment, and are willing to work hard, willing to work sort of weird hours, you can and willing to stay busy and be responsible. You can make some awesome money as a stagehand. And what a stagehand is, it's kind of like a roadie, except they tend to stay more in the same area and work whatever shows come into like one city or one region of cities or something, like, rather than follow a specific group around. They just stay in one area and work.
Right.
Whoever comes in and whoever comes out. They can be a rowdy bunch. They can be a fun-loving. They're sort of a work hard, play hard kind of group of people. And if that appeals to you, it's definitely one of our good friends who's a stagehand always says his degree taught him how to ask questions that didn't make him sound stupid.
Would that be our good friend Chris Knutson?
That would be him, yeah.
Let's talk about the difference between a stagehand and a roadie. You were kind of saying earlier that roadies, actually, they're following. They're riding in the buses.
Traditionally,
they're going on tour. Stagehands can be like kind of freelance people, but usually of a local union.
Right, they do have a union,
and they're very well taken care of, I'm sure, by the union.
They are.
Safety and all that stuff, and benefits.
Yep.
I'm assuming. We'll have to talk to Chris about that.
And I would like to.
But you don't have to be a nomadic road warrior. You can live comfortably in your own home.
You can.
Spend every night there with your family if you want to, and just handle, if you have a big enough city where enough things are going on, handle, stage shows. Anytime there's a live performance, you got a guy doing the house sound. He's got the mixing board doing the house. You got a guy doing monitor sound up there on the stage. Yes, you have that too.
Yeah, a couple of those guys.
And there's probably a guy who's like, oh, he's the best monitor guy I know of. You got to have this guy. Bob Dylan. And really like this guy. Let's bring this guy on tour with us.
And if you want to do that, you can definitely do that. You have to put a little effort into building that reputation by being professional, by getting good results, and
as little feedback as possible.
Yeah,
except for positive feedback.
We only accept positive feedback.
Not positive feedback loops.
We don't accept those. Yeah, you can definitely do that. You can definitely, if you're willing to build that reputation, and that's what you do. You get to the point where people say, this guy's. I know this really good monitor guy. If you need a monitor guy, then I'll give him a call. And that kind of thing becomes very regional, but it can also be very lucrative. And if you like that kind of thing, very, very rewarding, because you can see all of the cool acts that come through your area. You get to be there for them. You get to see all the stuff. Same thing if you're a stagehand. You get to experience just about every kind of music that known to man, and then some that aren't yet, and because they all come through, and it can be very rewarding, can be very fun.
Yeah,
if that's your thing.
But be prepared when you're starting off. Be prepared to move a bunch of heavy stuff around. Wheels. Start young with wheels. Yeah. Take care of those backs. Take care of those legs.
Yeah. Buy yourself a back brace and use it.
Don't just have it in your closet.
Right.
We should probably talk a little bit about the studio mixing engineer and the producer.
Yeah, the studio. We should talk about studio work.
Something that I personally don't know a whole lot about, but that's what my degree intended for me to know about. And I did intern in a studio, and I can work a mixing board, but I haven't had any opportunity to take any kind of full or part-time job in a recording studio. And I think we should talk to someone who has.
Definitely.
But if we want to give some people a basic idea, being a music producer or being a recording engineer can also be fairly comfortable lifestyles.
Indeed it can. And you have to pay your dues in that too.
Again, yes.
I feel like that is one place where you're going to get to the top of that field and be the guy making the big money in that field really in a very sort of literal better at it than other people. It is the people who can produce the best recorded sound with the least amount of time and the least amount of effort that are at the top of that field, or the people that get hired by the big studios. Now, the thing about recording studios, back when you and I were getting our degrees, back then in the dark ages when dinosaurs roamed the earth and
2001 to be exact.
yeah, right.
There were actually payphones still around back then, I think.
There were payphones. They were the giant. I actually graduated in 2000, and I still had one of those giant, ostrich egg cell phones.
Suitcase cell phone thing?
Yeah, I mean it was huge. Yeah, it didn't fit in my pocket. That's for sure. It stayed in my car because you're not just going to carry this thing around. Yeah, but we digress. So back then. There were recording studios, but they cost a lot of money to put together. So, living in a city the size of ours, living in Birmingham, Alabama, we would have, 3 or 4 sort of studios.
That everyone knew about.
If you wanted to record something, if you wanted your band to have a demo tape, which was still a thing, then you went to the studio and you paid their rate for however many hours to have the studio and the recording tech guy there to record, and that's the way it works. In this day and age, people are recording music in their basements all over the country, all over the nation. They can, some of them sound like crap, not gonna lie. Some of them sound as good or better as anybody on a major label, just depending on the talent and ability of the recording tech, the recording technician. So it's become one of these things where you can set up a studio in your basement, charge your friends, $150 to come in and do that 3 or 4 nights a week and actually make money. And if you're really, really good, then that can lead to you, having a job at a bigger studio, and creating a business out of that. You can sort of be an entrepreneur in sense.
Right.
You need to have a degree that gives you experience in the technology side of music for that. So an audio tech degree, a music tech degree, something along those lines. There's not a whole lot of people that are majoring in trumpet performance and then coming out and running recording studios. But pick your path wisely. But
yeah, in fact, as we speak, we're sitting in my basement recording.
We
this
are
right
sitting
now.
in Jeremy's basement using his recording technology because he records one of his bands down here.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, see?
I'll go back and listen to this podcast, and if it sounds like crap,
You were going to edit that part out.
But if you don't hear an air conditioner, that's because that's going to be EQ'd out.
Yeah.
With my clever home studio. Hey, there's another opportunity for post-production audio.
Post-production audio. Wow.
Yeah, sound designer.
Sound design, yeah, highly complicated but very, very rewarding field.
Good pay. I think I heard somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
$60 to $100 an hour.
Yeah, and definitely something that we could bring people in to talk about. But audio design into mastering and things like that, very, very highly appreciated. You become the guy that makes the band that got recorded in the garage sound like they were recorded by a major label.
Yeah. Turn 1420 Ferncliff Circle into Abbey Road Studios.
There you go.
That takes some real talent. Hey, let's talk about something that's kind of like the creme de la creme that I don't know much about, but I think that a lot of people in the film and television industry get into it because they want to be the director. Well, let's talk about the director of the orchestra, of the symphony orchestra.
Oh, the conductor.
The conductor, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people might be majoring in conducting.
Yeah, hoping that they'll be up there in front of all those musicians and people one day.
Indeed.
You've actually been up there.
Very, very little. Yes,
yeah, but you've been up there.
Yeah.
What did it take for you to get up there?
Dude, it's terrifying.
Yeah?
It's terrifying. Yeah, I've been up there out of absolute necessity. I was sweating bullets, man. It is not a job for people with stage fright or people who get nervous easily or.
So you got dragged into it out of necessity.
I got dragged into it out of necessity.
But let's talk about people who dream about that.
Who dream of doing.
What would it take to get them up there?
Not much.
Really? Okay.
Or you mean career-wise?
Career-wise, yeah.
It depends on where you are.
Yeah, location.
I actually know some people who have advanced degrees in conducting, and I think that definitely helps.
And they can actually say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" "I'm a conductor."
I'm a conductor. I know people who can say that.
Okay. Here in Birmingham.
Well, yeah, some here in Birmingham, some in Georgia. Yeah.
To give you guys an idea of our market, Birmingham is about a sixth of the size of Atlanta.
About that, right? Yeah.
About an 11th the size of LA. About a ninth the size of New York.
We're tiny.
We're pretty tiny.
We're a tiny little place.
About 1 million people in the Birmingham metro area, 300,000 in the downtown area. Last I heard, which was a couple of years ago.
Right. Yeah. Growing very quickly.
But in this market, how easy can you?
Yeah. Well, in Birmingham, there's probably, I'm going to say, 3 ensembles that hire and keep conductors. Mm-hmm. One of which is the ASO,
Alabama Symphony Orchestra.
The Alabama Symphony Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Red Mountain Chamber Orchestra, and then I'm just going to guess there's probably one other that I don't know about. A lot of towns, unless you live in New York or LA or Austin or someplace like that, a lot of towns are going to be like us. Mm-hmm. So the trick is to again be the guy that's really good, be the guy that's really professional, Mm-hmm. Be the guy that can conduct really well.
And express passion.
Express passion, yeah. And we don't have to tell you guys this.
Yeah.
Be passionate about music.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like you're really passionate about music,
it will show to those that count.
Yeah. For the love of God, stop now.
Do us all a
Find something. I'd love to get your opinion on this, but I don't think I can. I don't think you can make it in music. Mm-hmm. Unless you really love music, unless you're really passionate about it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just designed to be, because I know some things. I feel like there are things out there where it's like, okay, this is kind of boring and I don't like it, but I get paid really well, so I can do it so long as I get to go to the beach on the weekend or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't think music is just a field where you can be like that.
Yeah, because artistic expression is such a big part of it.
Yeah,
and you can't be expressive on things that you're not passionate about. I mean, you can't perform if you're not loving what you're doing. Yeah. And if you do, people I think will pick it up.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's people in choirs that do stuff that they hate probably, and those probably aren't as good performances.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not. They're not.
You can tell these people don't like Mozart.
Yeah, you can tell. You can really tell. I have seen orchestras playing contemporary music, and there are definitely people who don't like that kind of music out there. Mm-hmm. And, you can tell when they just really feel like, it's like, please, I'll just be glad when I can stop playing this. And yeah, you can tell, And not even getting into that, I mean, it's just too hard. Mm-hmm. It's too hard to be in music if you're not passionate about it, I would think. Mm-hmm. It's too hard on your ego. It's too hard on, your lifestyle. It's
too hard on those you love.
It's too hard on those you love. It's too hard on the people around you. It's like being addicted to crack.
It won't put down that saxophone.
It won't put down that saxophone. We need to stage an intervention.
Let's talk a little bit about academia.
Sure, yeah. It's funny. There's a paying your dues thing where academia is concerned.
Yeah. I mean, many fields, I think, have that same kind of thing going on. But
yeah.
Tell me about the dues that you had to pay.
Well, in academia, the dues you pay are the degrees you get, because that is really the one place. If you're going to pursue graduate degrees, a master's degree and a doctoral degree, chances are this is why. It is because you want to teach and you want to be competitive in the academic field. It's not the only reason. There are definitely other reasons to pursue graduate degrees, but one of the big advantages is that if you come out of a bachelor's degree and try to teach, it's going to be hard, because people say, well, I've got this guy over here who has a master's degree and he wants to teach this class that you're saying you can teach, and he has proof of more knowledge.
He's paid his dues just a little more.
He's paid his dues just a little more. He's a little more advanced of a scholar in their eyes. That could be totally not the case, but in their eyes, he's a little more advanced of a scholar. that guy is losing all the really sweet jobs to guys with doctorates, or people with doctors, guys or gals. I don't think I've never seen a whole lot of gender discrimination in academia. That's what's one of the good things about it is if you're the person who has the resume and the skill set that makes you the most qualified for this job, you're going to get it. And there's not a lot, I don't think, discrimination at all, really. I mean, people may have stories, I don't know, but
just like everywhere. But I mean, I think academia was probably one of the first institutions to open up to both genders.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a ballpark figure of what you might expect to make?
Oh.
From here to there, I mean, it varies obviously based on many different factors.
It varies based on so many different things. You can get a master's degree, and a master's degree doesn't usually take as long as your original degree. I mean, a lot of people can get a master's in a shorter amount of time.
Couple of years or what?
2 years, 3 years.
Realistically?
I mean, yeah, realistically. Some people can, it takes 4. It kind of just depends on where you are and, what they expect of you. But you can get out of that and you can start teaching adjunct. And that's sort of...
describe adjunct real quick for some of the newer kids here.
Okay, yeah. An adjunct professor is somebody who basically is just being paid for the classes he's teaching.
Almost like an a la carte freelance type scenario.
Almost like a freelance or like a private contractor or something.
Yeah, okay.
They may teach at 2 or 3 different schools. They usually get paid for the class, so your school will negotiate X amount of money for you to teach this class for this semester. And you say okay, and you sign that contract and you go teach at that school. There is nothing that binds them to you or you to them.
Okay.
Once that semester-long contract or year-long contract sometimes is up, you can say, hey, I'm happy to do it next year, and often, if you did a good job, you'll get that opportunity. But you can also say, okay, that's it for me. I'm going on to other things. You're a fly-by-night kind of person as an adjunct.
But if you like them and they like you, it can be a beautiful relationship.
It can be a relationship.
It can be
put
a
it
relationship.
that way. Now, The thing about adjuncts is they are not tenure track.
Tenure track. Okay, they're not.
And we can get into what that means.
Okay.
But they're not tenure track positions. Mm-hmm. They're not full-time positions. So, an adjunct professor is very rarely going to get any kind of benefits, any kind of retirement package.
The kind of thing that happens once you're tenured?
Right, yeah. The kind of thing that happens once you're a full-time employee of this university. You generally first get hired as a tenure track, which means, okay, you have a full-time position, you've got benefits, you've got health insurance, you got a retirement plan, you've got all this good stuff. You're not getting paid by the class. You're getting paid, usually a salary, which you negotiated.
With one university.
With one university, yeah. And your load is divvied up depending on what they wanted and what you negotiated with them. Mm-hmm. You usually, a third to a half of what you're doing at least is teaching classes. Then, you may also be doing research or running a lab or whatever.
Which I like to talk about in a little bit.
Right, yeah. And then the tenure track means you have this job for X amount of time, and then we're going to sit down and talk about how good a job you're doing. And if you're doing a really good job, then we will offer you tenure. Then you become a tenure professor. Then you have that job, and, your day-to-day responsibilities might get renegotiated or might not, but you will get that job, and then they will say, barring a few, sort of cardinal sins, you'll have this job for as long as you want it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, you cannot get fired for anything short of inappropriate relations with students, plagiarism, criminal activity, and, felony-type criminal activity, stealing money from the university or something. And then, you basically have that job forever. Obviously, that is the really, really sweet spot that everybody in academia wants is that tenure track. They do that. They say, well, you have this job forever because as a tenure professor in larger universities especially, a lot of your job has to do with research in your field. And this isn't just music. This is academia in general.
Now, this is beyond the teaching aspect. This is actually a whole different thing that is expected of you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It is expected of you, and you could lose your tenure if you don't produce anything. But the idea behind saying, well, you're not going to get fired barring these few extreme circumstances is so you can do research and research what you want and come to the conclusions that you feel are the most truthful without worrying about the politics of your department. So if you come to, if you decide you feel a certain way about something and the head of the department feels the opposite way, he cannot fire you because of that.
Right.
So it's supposed to create an era of academic freedom where I'm going to explore and contribute to my field free of any worries of what the superiors at my university think of that.
So academic freedom, job security.
Yes.
These are starting to sound really actually good. Actually, really good. Sounds like they might be worth some of the hard work you had to put into it.
It sounds extraordinarily good. It is a lot of hard work. There's dues paying. People without doctorates do not get tenured in music. I've never heard of someone without a doctorate getting a music tenure position. If anybody out there knows anyone who's done that, I would
love to talk to them.
I would love to talk to those people. Please,
learn a few
tell
tricks.
me about it.
Do you think that covers academia pretty well, or well, let's talk about the research a little bit, because I'm kind of excited about this. I got a degree in music technology with a minor in psychology, and at first I thought I wanted to go into music therapy.
Right.
The study of how sound waves affect people's bodies and minds.
Which is fascinating and a quickly growing field.
But that's just one of the many fields you can be expected to research. It's pretty much up to you, isn't it? Or is it kind of based on your area?
It's based on your area,
Yeah.
and it's something that you kind of negotiate with the university when they decide to give you things like this. For example, in my area, composition research often means you compose. So you have to, and you're expected to write a certain amount of pieces, and different places have different, sort of values about writing versus performing. Getting performed by whom. Obviously, getting your students to play it at the school's recital hall isn't as impressive as the Juilliard String Quartet or something.
Sure.
But that is one example. If you were in music theory, for example, research would involve analyzing pieces, analyzing other analyses, and getting published in these music the Journal of Music Theory. Which if you guys don't know what those journals are, go read them. It's important to your continuing scholarship. But the New Music Journal, the Journal of Music Theory, there's 100 others whose names I'm forgetting right now. We'll go back once I remember and plug that in. But and that will be what you're expected to do, to be contributing to these things and sort of advancing our knowledge of music.
Analyzing analysis.
You have to analyze analyses.
Now that's not for me, but I know you're out there. I know you're out there. That's what I mean. That you kind of
if you go into a doctoral degree, certainly, but maybe even a master's degree. I mean, this is part of being in the sort of music scholar community. You're sort of expected to have a voice in this community and be able to say, well, I think that when Peter Van Den Toorn uses the octatonic collection to describe so much of Stravinsky, et cetera, and be able to say what you think about that, and have opinions that you can back up, logically.
And that comes with lots and lots of studying.
That comes with a lot of...
And paying your dues.
Because before you can even get to that point, you have to get to the point that you know what the hell these guys are talking about. And let me tell you right now, they are trying to sound smarter than you. They are music theorists. Sorry, my apologies, but I don't think you can really. A
little bit of dog and pony show going on there.
Well, they're trying to sound. They don't want you to read their thing and think, well, this guy's clearly an idiot.
Right.
They're trying to put their best foot forward, and they're trying to sound educated, and they're trying to sound smart. They use lots of big words, words like verisimilitude, and anachronistic. Dodecaphony is a good one.
I'm gonna have to Google all of those.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the ones that have made me pause.
You had to do some Googling yourself.
Yeah. I meet a lot of students that sort of feel like, I wish I could just stay in school forever. And they feel, guilty because they feel like that they're not supposed to feel that way, and that's understandable. You feel like this is supposed to be a means to an end.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel that way, have you considered teaching? A lot of performing musicians give lessons anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If your major is in performance on an instrument, giving lessons is something you're going to do.
You can be an accomplished musician with no degree whatsoever, but I think by the time you get a degree in a certain instrument or for performance on a certain instrument, I think you're taken pretty seriously as an educator.
You're taken very seriously.
At least on a private basis.
Absolutely, yes. You're taken as seriously as anyone else at that point. So
there's your 4-year degree for these. Well, I mean, getting back to the performance end, I mean, talking about careers, we've already kind of covered academia. We covered a little bit in the tech field, what I do, a little bit of the stagehands. But maybe it makes sense to talk about being a musician, for at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
I am a musician. Matt is a musician. We're both bass players. The bands I play in...
No bass player jokes.
No bass player jokes.
No, actually, send us all the bass player jokes you want. We love them.
Send us what you got. I can't even think of a good one right now.
How many bass players does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
None. The pianist does it with his left hand.
Nice.
Yeah.
But either way, we've both been in bands. I can honestly say that, and I hope the IRS is listening, it's not a significant source of income for me, but that's because I do have another thing going on job-wise where I can't really spend all my focus on being a live musician.
It is, at this point in my life anyway, it is less for me than the IRS designates that I even have to declare as an income. There's a money line at which at this point you have to start declaring it as income, and for me it is below that. So yeah, IRS, don't bother.
It's my understanding that it's $600 per year per client.
Yeah.
So if you play at Joey's Crab Shack and you make more than $600 that year from that client, then you have to start reporting it to the IRS.
Right. Yeah.
But if you can stretch yourself around town enough to where you make, it'd be a hell of a stretch. But yes, you do. You musicians, if you make that much, you do have to report it, and you do have to pay your taxes.
And you do have to pay your taxes. And composers, if you are making money off ASCAP that breaches that limit, you also have to declare it.
Okay. Well, musicians probably don't consider that fact that you are, as a musician, a freelancer in general, and you do have to cover your own insurance, which can run you a good couple to $300 a month.
Yeah, and as we all know, that is a part of the greater adult society out there that is changing very rapidly in these years. So, things are happening. Is going. My understanding is going from something you should do to something you're basically going to have to do. The government's going to take that money one way or another, so you might want to,
set aside 1/3 of everything you own and be prepared to cough it up. That's what I do in the film business, and that's what really, if you're making a significant income as a musician, you have to think about. That's one thing that us musicians aren't geared to think about.
Right.
We're not business majors. We don't know about that. We have to learn the hard way.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, it's so you don't even realize your own freaking ignorance until it's just presented, to your face. My girlfriend is an accountant, and she has masters in accounting degrees, and she's great with all of that stuff.
Lucky man.
Oh man, really.
Lucky musician.
Yeah, lucky musician. Really, she keeps me in line really good. I have a bad habit of, oh my God, this guy played my piece, and I got $300 for it. I'm going to go buy a new iPad with this. I'm going to, what can I buy with $300? Let's see. There's a Blu-ray player out there, and she's great about, no, this is your income. This is what you live on. This is your food and your gas, and no, you're putting it in. She's great about that. She does my taxes every year, and she's really, really good about that.
She cooks a mean pasta dish, but
she
expects you to help put that on the table.
She does. She does. And so I'm really lucky. But you don't realize how stupid you are about this stuff until you're faced with somebody who is really good at it, and I just think like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming to even think about sometimes,
Speaking of the women who love us, that's going to actually be another podcast. We're going to have a
Great,
podcast.
the women who love us.
And we're going to talk
maybe
talk to your girlfriend, talk to my wife about what kind of a strong woman it takes to date a musician.
No, that's
Another podcast.
that's another podcast. What are musicians like?
The mind of a musician.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about people in the music psychology or music therapy.
Yeah.
I do know some people that do it, and I could tell you some of the things they do.
Well, let's hear that.
Well, a lot of it seems to be based on kind of helping people who are maybe kind of challenged mentally or physically or one way or the other, as opposed to what I kind of thought. Now I know there are branches of people that actually look into how it works with your psyche, but for a great majority of it is actually singing songs to kids, helping with the coordination, and then sometimes I think some people actually just go to old folks' homes and play music, just play some music for the old folks and make them, make their lives a little better.
A friend of mine, John Scalisi, he has his drum circle that he does.
Yeah.
All over town, really, and he's gone to
Juka Tribe.
Yeah, the Juka Tribe. He goes all over places and carries basically a truckload full of drums, and people can sit in, and he can get you into the groove he's doing really quickly. They'll play their drums for extended periods of time. It's a great experience. It's one of those seminal experiences that every musician needs, and probably experiences at some point, at which you are playing music in that time for yourself, not for someone else. It's not that you're playing music for someone else to listen to. You're playing it to get something out of it for yourself. And it's really fun, but I think that would fall under the category of sort of music therapy.
Yeah, well, there's something going on there. You're kind of getting lost in the music. It's almost like it can become a meditative state for those who really do it right and do it a lot. I would be curious to know what's the average income to be expected from one who goes in that direction.
It probably varies. I think he's definitely done it before just because he kind of wanted to and had an opportunity.
Which is very altruistic.
Yeah. I do know that John makes a living as a musician, so hey, more power to him. That's what it's all about. I feel like what scares people a lot about music degrees, what scares people out of pursuing them, what makes your parents freak out when you say you want to get this, is that there is no one path.
There's no scripted path.
There's no script. I think with a lot of majors that you can go into college and get, you have this, you can sort of have this plan. Well, I'm going to spend 4 years or 5 years or whatever in college. I'm going to get this degree. My senior year, I'm going to intern with this company, and then this company is going to hire me, and then I'll stay with them until someone wants to hire me for more money or whatever. And you sort of got this plan, at the end of which is adulthood. Yeah. Music, it is not that way. First of all, the degree is not mandatory, right? And then when you get out of the degree, you say, I have to sort of make this life for myself. There's no plan. There's no script. You have to figure out what your interest is, what your passion is, and then you have to figure out how to make your life work with that passion. A lot of us have had day jobs before, through the years for various reasons.
Of course, in this economy, there's a lot of graduating business people, law school people going into day jobs that don't quite add up to their field.
That's a very good point. The economy, the way it's been the last few years, there's a lot of people who thought they had a script and a plan who all of a sudden, the plan fell apart, and
they're in the same boat as us, as we have been all along.
They're in the same boat as us, and they're not nearly as equipped to deal with it emotionally.
Absolutely.
we've been rowing in this boat a while, and we know what it's like, and
so we got that going for us.
Yeah, we're falling apart a lot less.
Fortitude, more fortitude than one would think is in a musician.
More fortitude. We're musicians. We've been broke before. We know how to handle. It's like, okay, well, I guess it's French fries and some ketchup for dinner. Yay! All right.
Oh, we had French fries and ketchup last night.
Yeah, we had French fries and ketchup last night. Yeah. Yeah. We know how to hang with being broke. Some of these people are, like, they're repoing my Mercedes. Oh my God. We should probably talk about just the traditional learning to play an instrument
Okay.
route, because a lot of people, and this does happen, a lot of people sort of make a living based on playing their instrument. Mm-hmm. And, what instrument you play and the style you want to play has a lot to do with exactly how that's going to work. If you're a really great jazz saxophonist, for example, then you're going to have a certain set of opportunities that you need to pursue versus, if you're a classically trained violinist, you're going to have a different set, but the big thing is learning what those avenues are for what you want to do. This is where all the dues paying is really going to come in, and you are definitely a freelancer if you do this. Mm-hmm. You are definitely the person who is playing in 3 or 4 music groups, is just available to play whatever, to play whoever's wedding, whoever's bar mitzvah,
Those are the guys that stay busy,
Yeah,
and my friends who make nothing but a living on music usually have about 6 or 7 bands that they're rotating, and that's how even in a small market like this, they can make a comfortable living. I think one of them makes about $50,000-$60,000 a year as a musician, which I think in this market
awesome,
is pretty good. Now in New York, he'd probably be making 80 to 100.
Right.
Yeah. So it's so much more expensive.
So it's more expensive. Yeah.
But also that comes with teaching, and when it comes to getting gigs with people who will hire you on a regular basis,
right?
Let's talk about that, because there's something very important that is not easy for musicians.
Right.
Be on time.
Be on time.
Have a good attitude. Be easy to work with.
Oh God!
Don't let that ego of yours.
Oh God! Yes. You have no. You have no idea what an ego will cost you. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you will never know that it cost you what it cost you, because these people aren't going to call you and say, "Hey, I was going to have you come play at this thing, but you're an asshole, so no."
Exactly.
They're not going to do that. They're just going to not call you.
Who's not an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to be, if you're an asshole, you're going to be the dude sitting around going, "Why can't I get any gigs? Can't make any money as a musician." You're going to go to your dad's, sign painting business and tell everybody there how nobody can make money as a musician, when, and perpetuate that myth, when really it's not that nobody can, it's you.
Exactly.
Because you're an asshole.
And I hope if there's anything that we've gathered from this podcast is that myth is officially busted, in my opinion. Because
it's not true. Take it from us.
Yeah.
We're alive. Neither of us is starved yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
It can be done. And I think it maybe takes a certain type of personality. Mm-hmm. It takes being willing to do what it is you have to do. It takes hard work. It takes a little bit of vision. Mm-hmm. A little bit of willingness to sort of carve your own path, because nobody has carved it for you. Mm-hmm. But it can definitely be done.
Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed the time we spent here talking about this, and if there's anything else we haven't covered, I'm sure we'll get it in the next podcast.
Yeah, see you later.
Maybe you know some people that work in this field that you admire. Tell us about them. Also, let us know if we left any good careers out. We'll mention them in a future episode. Email us at info@musicstudent101.com.